Browns back at it today here on a Wednesday, getting ready for the Cincinnati Bengals, ending their 3-game road trip last week in Philadelphia, so they get to return home, but they will play this game, of course, without Amari Cooper, Mary Kay, as they traded him on Tuesday. We did a whole podcast about it, and today was sort of about the fallout of the Amari Cooper trade. Kevin Stefanski said it's an opportunity for some other young players. Jeudy talked about kind of viewing himself as a number one guy, so today was sort of the fallout after the Cooper trade.
It really was. And one of the things that stood out to me was the fact that Deshaun Watson didn't seem too broken up or upset about the fact that Amari Cooper is gone. I think that he genuinely sees it as an opportunity to get the ball more to Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, David Njoku, and some of these other guys. So, again, he didn't seem as though the sky was going to be falling now that Amari is gone. I think he sees it as an opportunity.
And he said he does have confidence in those guys, Ashley. And, look, for Jeudy, this is a great opportunity for him. Amari Cooper has been this team's most targeted player this season, really ever since he's been here. And so those targets have to go to somebody.
They do, and I think we've seen it ever since Jerry got over some of those nagging injuries he was dealing with in the spring, that he and Deshaun Watson, I think, just have this natural chemistry in terms of the way they play the game, their styles, all of those kind of intangible things on the field. And Amari and Deshaun, for whatever reasons this year, were not able to get that chemistry going consistently. So I do think it will help Jerry Jeudy in that regard, but I think a lot of people, including me, still have questions about whether he can be a true number one receiver on this team.
Now, Amari Cooper is gone. Nick Chubb is back, and he started the morning by posting a story he wrote for the Players Tribune, a very emotional story about his upbringing, about his affection for the city of Cleveland, and then, of course, he spoke to us today, Mary Kay, and look, for as bad as this season has gone, there is so much excitement in this fan base and really on this football team about the return of Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb is such a feel-good story that I think it's going to ease the pain of this 1-5 season. I think it's going to be a really, really good feel-good story for Cleveland Browns fans in that stadium on Sunday. This season has been horrible. Fans have left that stadium just feeling so bad about everything. But Nick Chubb always brings a lift. He's the inspirational leader of this football team. And I don't know if he can save this season, but he's certainly going to try.
And look, the vibes going into that game on Sunday at that stadium with 65,000 people who have watched a 4-game losing streak, Ashley, on the road here, haven't had a chance to voice their opinion. At least having Nick Chubb back is going to quell that a little bit, and maybe that'll help give the Browns some momentum early on in this game.
Yeah, I do think that's going to be really important. I think this return is coming at the perfect time. Even though the Browns are 1-5, I think it is a natural sort of feel-good story that this fan base has been waiting for. And of course, I don't think there's another player on this team that has embedded himself into the fabric of the franchise, of the city, the way that Nick Chubb has. So this is a moment everyone's been waiting for. I keep thinking about last year when he was the dog pound captain in their home game against the Jets when they clinched a playoff spot, just how electric that environment was. It's going to be different this time, but I think the electricity is still going to be there, knowing how excited the fans are for Nick Chubb to come back.
So there is more good news, too, on the injury front, especially on the defensive side of the football. Juan Thornhill has been designated to return from IR. That doesn't mean he's going to play on Sunday. The Browns have 21 days to activate him, but he was at least back on the practice field today. And Grant Delpit, working his way back from a concussion, he was limited today, so that means, Mary Kay, he's progressing through the protocol, and he's certainly getting closer to playing, too.
That's right, and the Browns need all the help they can get, especially in that secondary. They've really struggled in that regard, and with the Bengals coming to town, Joe Burrow coming to town, you definitely want to have healthy defensive backs. They'll have those for this game. And we are just full of good news today, aren't we? But no, they need reinforcements. They are hitting the reset button for this game, and it will help them to have these guys back.
And Ashley, we know this defense has had so much success against Joe Burrow and company, but having your starters back is only going to help you kind of try to repeat that.
I do think that's going to help you, Dan. You and I were talking about this out at practice today as I was kind of theorizing about this game. I had one Miles prediction. I'm feeling like early in the week we could have a multiple sack game out of Myles Garrett because he especially has just had the Bengals number in recent years, and their O-line is still not that great. So they do have that going for them. I think getting some of those key pieces in the secondary back will be key. And remember, the receiving core does not look like it did the last handful of years. No Tyler Boyd on this team anymore, and that was a huge piece for Joe Burrow, who still happens to have Jamar Chase, who's the second leading receiver in the NFL. So it still is not going to be an easy task for these DBs, but it will be helpful to get some of their top guys back.
And apparently Joe Burrow thinks he's Lamar Jackson now because he had a long touchdown run on Sunday night too. So should be an interesting game. We'll cover everything leading up to it. And of course, everything that was said today about Amari Cooper, Nick Chubb, everything else, all at cleveland.com/Browns.